You were never afraid of the dark. Even before you had the words, you felt the pull. A call from the void. Something deeper than thought and older than memory. So you followed it. Inside, it all came rushing in. Numbers, symbols, patterns. The cosmic code revealing itself in waves. Not to confuse you, but to remind you. You've seen this before. You've read this language in another life. Your mind began to understand. But it was your heart that truly remembered. This is what decoding really is. Reuniting the thinking and the feeling, the logic and the soul. This is how you wake up. And when you do, you are not the same. You carry light codes now. You move differently. You speak in frequencies because you remember who you are. You decode to find your way home and to help others do the same. This is why we decode. Namaste, beautiful souls. It's Dr. Danny. How's everybody doing out there? Here we are live. How exciting. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to the live. I'm so excited you guys are here. It makes me so happy and grateful to be able to provide information like this live. It's just fantastic. So let's see. Today we are going to talk about one of my favorite topics. It's going to be the solstice. The solstice, the astrological ages. It's such a great time to really show you guys in real time in the actual sky how the sky has shifted. So I'm thrilled to be able to bring you this. I've created about maybe like a 15-slide presentation on the solstices, and I want you to forget everything you've ever learned about the zodiacal ages. So by the time I'm done with you guys, you'll be thinking about that in a completely different way. We'll look at the astrology a little bit, and then I want to dive into some really amazing, interesting synchronicities that I found when I began to talk about and put the slides together for the solstices, particularly when we talk about the Mayan culture and the Egyptian culture. And since we're talking about the summer solstice, at least for the northern hemisphere, we are going to talk mainly about the Egyptians. And there's some interesting decode there. So we'll do that, and then we'll chat a little bit as we do it, and we'll just have a good time. Today we are simulcasting on Facebook, the group, the Fellowship of the 13 Signs, and then we are also broadcasting on Rumble. So we have 3 different streaming services today. So let's see who's here today so we can get going. I think I'm going to try to put you all in the, let's see. We have Teresa here giving us a smiley face. And then we have Gwendolyn. Yay, caught alive. Sweet. I know, it's fun. It's good energy. We have a good time. Azteca says, woohoo. All right. And then, of course, Ultimate says, greetings, starseeds. I'm guessing you guys can hear me okay. Ultimate says 5 by 5. Good. 333. That must be what time the live stream started for you. Did you all notice the time? 4:31. Do you know why I picked that? If anybody can say that in the chat, I'll give you an Ophiu kiss. Awesome. So good to see all of you. This is so great. All right, cool. Yeah, usually when the solstices come, it is such a great opportunity for me to dive into the material a little bit and hook some more people into the energy of constellational astrology. So this is really, really exciting. I usually will show you the sky before we dive into the presentation, but I want to give you the presentation first, and then we will dive into, I want to show you Stellarium. We're going to have a good time with that because I want to show you how you can play with it just to prove it to yourself. I mean, this is how I blew my own mind just by playing with Stellarium. So I'm just getting that set up real quick as you guys shuffle on in. So I've just been having a magical couple of days, really. I'm kind of in that flow state where, when I think about something, it happens, and I just kind of do whatever feels really good in the moment, and it seems to be working out pretty good. I've got to work next week, 4 shifts, so we may not do a live next week, y'all. But what I do wanna do, for those of you that are members, and thank you so much, shout out to all of you. We've got 20 members of this channel. I never really thought that there would be that many people that were even that interested in supporting my work, but I'm so excited that you are. And so, um, as a reciprocity for doing that, for joining and supporting me, we are going to get together once a month for a Zoom call. So if you are a channel member, you will get a post that only y'all can see, and it will give you the Zoom link. So that way you guys know exactly where to go. And I'll put the time in Central United States time so you guys can go to time and date and see when that works out for you. It will probably be Wednesday or Thursday evening of next week. So those of you that are channel members, that's going to be so much fun. We'll get together. We'll look at the chart in real time. We'll see what's coming up for the next lunation. And the reason I'm doing it so soon is because we do have a new moon next week. And as you guys know, I like to get you ready at the new moon instead of the full moon. So how was everybody's full moon? Has it been a little intense for you? Oh my goodness. It's been wild. So if you guys are feeling it, let me know. Let's see. All right. Oh, Seema Dragon's here. Says good morning. That's because you're on the other side of the world. And thank you for the fire. Yeah, I got good feedback on that question. So what I did is I created a long and very deep teaching about the conjunction of Saturn and Neptune with respect to the solar cycle of Sun and Saturn. But since Saturn is next to Neptune right now, it's actually like a double doozy. So we go real deep into that. And I think either Friday or Saturday, I'm going to give you a compilation of the energies that you need to get through the Sun, Jupiter, square to Saturn, Neptune. So definitely look out for that. So that's going on. What else? Stellar Foundations. I think we're in like week 5 or 6, and you guys should be trucking along pretty nicely. Those guys are getting a short and sweet little video every week. I'm going to work on that tomorrow for you all. And I think I'm going to talk to you about rulerships and dispositors. It'll be a real quick, like, chalk talk. We're going to look at a chart and maybe go through some examples. So those of you in Stellar Foundations, look out for your email and in your Facebook group for that. Let's see, what else do I have going on? Oh yeah, ISAA, the International Sidereal Astrology Association, is having their launch event on September 27th of 2025. That is a Saturday. I think it's a 5 or 6 hour event. And I am blessed and honored to be a keynote speaker. And I will be sharing my research about the Phoenix angle. So yeah, a lot of exciting things are coming, y'all. I'm just thrilled to be a part of this. I'm looking into taking some kind of like temporary gigs on the side too, in terms of medicine, as being like a telehealth doctor, and perhaps even an expert. And so that is going to shift my workscape a little bit too. Let's see, we're traveling again at the end of July and then the middle of August. Just so much going on. And then of course, you guys, don't forget the book. Who's gotten the book already? What did you guys think of it? I've gotten some really beautiful reviews on Amazon. So those of you that have written those reviews, thank you so much. From the bottom of my heart, like gratitude gets me all like misty inside. So I appreciate you guys so much. But yeah, the links are below for the book if you guys want to get that. Buy two, because you're gonna want to share one. You're gonna want to give another one away so that someone else can understand this knowledge. So good. All right. Those are all my announcements. I'm sorry it was a lot. We just, I was away and then I've been catching up on everything. Another thing coming later this summer, which is going to be really fun, is a predictions class that Ria Larmond and I are doing. We're collaborating on. So that is open to the public. So just watch out for the links for that. If you already know astrology, already have Prometheus, it's the perfect class for you. And it'll be like a 2 or 3 hour class on a Friday night. So stay tuned for messages on that. All right. Let's see. Fellow Traveler got the book. Step into Flow got the book. Fellow Traveler says, oh my gosh, people were talking to me. Repeat everything you just said. Just hit rewind and then listen to me 1.5 or 2 times fast. So yeah, today's topic. I want to talk to you about the solstices, and I want to talk to you about ancient astrology and astronomy when it was one sacred science. If you guys know my work really well, you know that I am endeavoring to also get those that are learning from me an understanding of the astronomy, the celestial mechanics, and the cycles above us, because I think that's the key. And when we look at solstices, they're actually something that's visible. So imagine, you're a shaman and you've just come out of the salt cave or whatever it is you were doing, whatever it is you were channeling, and you're looking pre-dawn at the sky, and it's solstice. You notice that the sun stays still. Like at that same point, it rises for 3 days, and at the same point, it sets for 3 days. And it's either solstice, it's summer and winter solstice. So the ancients were actually mapping this, they were looking at it, and what they noticed was that those 3 days, with respect to the stars in the background, shifted very slowly over time. And the concept of astrological ages, while I'm so grateful that we have it, because it's also an opportunity during springtime to talk about constellational astrology, is actually a very modern construction. Okay. Um, it came 1800s, early 1900s during the Renaissance. It was more of a Hermeticist, Helena Blavatsky channeled work kind of an energy. And it works. It's great. I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying it's, the ancients, Egypt did not build their structure saying, oh, it is the age of Leo. They didn't. They worshipped and they adored and they followed the star Sirius. That was the star that they were into and interested in. And the rise and fall of their empire is based on the position of the summer solstice with respect to the star Sirius. Okay. So I'll show you in the sky, but I just wanted to kind of tease you with that and let you know that this is the route we're going. We're not really talking about these astrological ages, although they are helpful. And I do like to talk about it to help people look at the sky. But this is not what the ancients thought. So we may be in a completely different age altogether, which could be very, very interesting, especially if we're taking our focus away from the equinoxes. The equinoxes, if you can imagine yourself being an ancient astrologer, astronomer, were a little bit harder to sort of work out, only because it's just one day. It doesn't lull or stop there. It's not an inflection point in the cycle. It's more like just the halfway point. So I think that equinoxes came about because of the springtime, because of it just being, halfway between the two solstices. And of course, traditional astrology will have you in that circle within a cross, or cross within a circle. You're the human in the center on the cross. So I think if we can take our minds out of that a little bit and maybe step back and consider some other ideas, it makes the whole practice of observing the sky that much more interesting. So, all right, we got 27. So I'm going to get into it here. Let's see. Entire screen and share. All right. So there's my screen. Here is the PowerPoint. And we'll go into present mode. Hide that. All right, so the word solstice means the sun stands still. Can y'all see my screen okay? Give me a thumbs up if you do. All right, so the sun stands still. We're going to do a little bit of background and history and some just philosophy, I guess. And then we're going to get into the astrology and the polymath stuff after that. I have about 90 slides. I think we'll probably go for about an hour. All right, so here we go. So the sun stands still in my favorite numerology cipher, the Phi cipher, is 88, which is a really special number. It corresponds to radium, which is the atomic number for this element, which is Ra, the sun god. You add those two numbers together right here and here, and you get 314, which is pi, and that's why I started the presentation at 4:31 my time. So the sun stands still. This is a 3-day longitudinal pause in solar movement. So let me get my pen out. I'm going to show you what we're looking at here. If you're standing on the earth and you are watching the sun, either at its zenith or at its setting or rising point, what you'll notice in summer is that there are 3 turning of the sky during the summer solstice and during the winter solstice. So there's a pause. It goes up really quickly, and then it pauses, and then it comes down, and then it pauses, and then it comes up. And so throughout the year, from the summer solstice to the winter equinox, you can watch your sun slowly sinking below the horizon. This was the spiral of the sun. This was the snake eating its tail. This was the sun disappearing. And this is any solstice. So our friends south of the equator in Australia and Southern America are in their winter solstice right now. Their sun is disappearing. And within a few days, this will begin the rising process again. Okay, so that's why the solstices were important. That's why they watched it. That's why you've got these spiral petroglyphs everywhere in the United States. You know, you have this kind of image, and they turn it into a person, you know, that's standing like this because they were watching these solstices. And they revered this stillness. They paused in it. It was a threshold of cosmic transition and a sacred reset. So that's where we are, guys. This is the height of our summertime here, and it is the height of the wintertime in the southern latitudes. So regardless of whether your sun is swelling right now or your sun is fading, it's still a threshold. It's still a pause. For the summer folks, it's a pause at the top of the roller coaster. And for the winter folks, it's, you know, the bottom of the circle. And you're going to be moving up after this point. So just to kind of think about that. Another concept that we really need to understand here is precession. Okay, what is precession? Well, I have to use the NASA model to explain precession, and it works pretty good. We're able to do some pretty intense calculations in astronomy that are good. They're predictive. Whatever maths we use within this model, it shows us the next day. It shows us 10 days from now. It shows us 100 days from now. So this is a very useful model. And until I can see some other model that explains the sky above me better than this is what I use. And in this model, the Earth is spinning, but if you imagine a top that is about to fall over, that spinning also has a circular wobble. So if you think of the polar region of the Earth here, spinning around like this as time goes on. Now, I know you guys have heard of this before. This is probably not a new concept for you, but it's not just precession of the equinoxes. I think precession of the equinoxes is more of a modern construct that was developed to highlight a point in our seasonal zodiac. And because, you know, the zodiac typically started on March 21st, 0 degrees of Aries, that was springtime. What they noticed over thousands of years is that it it drifted a little bit. It drifted out of Aries and into Pisces. And now we're about to drift out of Pisces and into Aquarius. And this is why we call this the coming age, the age of Aquarius. Okay, so this wobble is the orientation. So our orientation right now, if you want to just close your eyes and think about this with me, our orientation for Earth, the northern pole is pointing toward the sun. And from our perspective, the sun is in between the constellations of Taurus and Gemini right now, which is the outer bands of the Milky Way galaxy. Now, the lower half of the Earth is pointing outwards towards that band, okay, while we're spinning. And that's where we are right now. So that's how that works. So the Earth's tilt is in alignment with the ecliptic of the galaxy. That's why this moment is so important. And I'll show you shortly that this is the moment, this time where we are living in right now, is the moment that the Mayan calendar predicted, because they were watching the precession of the winter solstice with respect to the galactic center. And that alignment is right now. Okay? So this is the age we're in, and we cannot ignore this anymore. It's not good. And I'm glad that so many spiritual people and so many people, in touch with their guides and their star families are, yay, we're in the age of Aquarius, because this is like, to me, it's like, yay, you're looking at the sky. But at the same time, again, I want you just don't put all your eggs into the idea of this being the age of Aquarius. It's just a label, and it's just using the reference point of the equinox, which I am theorizing is a recent construct. Okay, we're going to be talking about precession of the solstices, and we may only be in the age of Taurus. But before I blow your mind on that, we'll just get through some of these slides. So let me see if I want to, before I get into the actual solstice, I want to show you in Stellarium the equinoxes. So let me do that real quick. We're going to have some fun with this. So this is right now in the sky. You can see where sun is. So for those of you that are tropical, and when I say the sun's in Taurus, this is what I mean. It's right here. We're actually about to move into Gemini in just a few days. We're going to get a solstice in just a few days. Jupiter and Sun are conjunct in just a few days, and they're making a square back to Neptune and Saturn. So lots of big, expansive, unstoppable energy where Pluto is connected to everything. So if you guys want to join me for that Zoom call next week, we will probably talk about that for the new moon cycle, for this lunar cycle. So at any rate, let me do this. Let me go to December. You can do this at stellarium-web.org. You can change the date. We're going to go to December. Actually, no, we're going to go to March. Let's do that. March 21st, because that's the date we all agree on is spring. And here it is. Let's make this a daytime sun. Okay. Where'd it go? There it is. All right. So you can see that on March 21st, where the tropical astrologers will have sun in Aries right here. It's not where it is. It's at the end of Pisces. So let's look at this. Let's look at this sky at dawn. This is what defines our astrological ages. Let me put the ground back in. All right. So there's your eastern sky. This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius. This is the heliacal rising of the stars of Aquarius. Okay. So let's do this. This is my favorite part of this program, and hopefully you guys will nerd out on this when we are done with this live stream, so you can play with this too. What I'm doing is just zooming out a lot. I don't have the landscape in. What I'm trying to do is get the constellations in a circle around us, because that's what they do. Okay, good. So you guys can see that, hopefully. We have Scorpio, Libra, Sagittarius, Aquarius. Yep. Okay. We're going to go back in time really, really fast. Okay. I'm going to be quiet because sometimes this cuts out when I'm using it. My mic cuts out when I'm using it. So we'll just watch this. Now we're looking at springtime. It's going to start rotating for us shortly. I guess I can't be quiet. Do you guys see how, with respect to the season that we're in, the sky is shifting a bit? Do you see how it sort of undulates like a snake or a serpent or a dragon? This is what the ancients were watching. And I love doing this with Stellarium because I literally feel like I'm some sort of like cosmic alchemist, and I can spin the sky, into the past and into the future and see the general movements. We're almost to the limit of this program. It goes to 00. Right. About here. Now, obviously, this is just a model, you guys. I wasn't there. I don't know what the sky actually looked like back then. But based on all the maths that we have, this makes the most sense. And now you see, oh, that's a little bit more refreshing, perhaps, for tropical astrologers. Look how much closer the sun is to Aries. Whereas in our skies, it's over here. See how far it moved in 2,000 years? It's not a lot at all. It's no wonder. But see, at the same time, the reason that this has happened, the reason that this slip has happened to us without our awareness is because we don't look up anymore. We don't look at the sky. Our television screen has our stars, quote unquote, in it. So we look to the screen for our stars. We don't look to the sky for our stars. But now we have all this technology, and we still have the eyes, we still have the outside, we still have the sky, just like the ancients did. And we can use this to verify our observations and even, yes, to make predictions. So I'm going to watch this dance again, and we're going to go way, way into the future, into the actual seasonal age of Aquarius. Let's do it. Isn't this fun? Don't you feel like a cosmic wizard just moving the sky around like that? By the time we're done with this, that sun will be in Aquarius, and we can also make it stand still. For some reason, when we get to 1800, it stays still. And we're still in springtime. We're going so fast through time, like 1,000 years every 30 seconds or so. It's beautiful. It's vast. It's ancient. And the reason I am belaboring this point, you guys, is because these slower movements are the rhythms, are the pulses of our empires as they rise and fall. I mean, it literally is. Let me make this a daytime. I'm pausing here at 1932. Hang on one sec. Okay. There we go. That should do it. See how it stays still now? So that's much nicer instead of having to... All right, now we are into the future, and we are speeding up a little bit here. Now this is the actual full-on age of Aquarius. Springtime is in the constellation of Aquarius. If the tropical astrologers have not caught up by then, I don't know what we're going to do. But see, with technology like this, we really don't even have an excuse to say that spring starts in Aries anymore. We shouldn't. It's just not accurate. So I don't know how far you guys want to go. I think I'll stop at 4,000 years. But you can see how the sun drifts, and it's so slow. It's so imperceptible. It's not something that one generation notices. You need to carry on the tradition of the astronomer shaman, healer energy. That's what we're all trying to do, each of us in our own way. So there it is. I think I belabored that enough. All right. So what do you guys think about that? Are you understanding what I'm saying? Are you feeling that bigger shift that we're touching on with the solstices? Because this is the whole crux of the presentation. This is why the thesis I'm about to give you is, based on the true sky and based on these movements. Let's see, who do we have here? We got 30. All right. Christine Yan is here. Hello, hello. All right. Vazteca was fantasizing with me. That's good. Divine Love Eternal is here. Thank you. Thank you. Age of Aquarius. Yes, yes, yes. Awesome. Is Chief Ironbush in my live stream? That'd be so cool. If you are, let's do a podcast together. I'd love to talk to you. I love your work. All right, cool. So I'm not done. I have more to show you. I just want to make sure you guys are feeling it, are in that rhythm with me, because we're about to get into the good stuff. I guess that was an intro. I don't know. Let's go. Okay. So hide that, go back into that. So what I just showed you on stellarium-web.org was this concept right here. This is why we are in the age of Aquarius right now, or going into it. And I think I've made the point that the tropical signs are fixed to the seasons. Every March 21st, every equinox will always be the beginning of Aries season in the Western tropical system. Okay. Constellational astrology is going to follow the stars. And that's the kind of astrology I do, for those of you that don't know that. So this really, the bottom line here is that time is not a fixed circle. It spirals. It has to. That's how we evolve. That's how we change. That's how empires come and go. And precession is the greater timekeeper of the greater cycle, those greater 25,000 year cycles. And just remember that the name of these greater ages, if you're basing it on Western tropical astrology and you go back in time before we even had that, and you were making assumptions about ancient people's beliefs based on those ages, that is an incorrect assumption, right? So while we may call something the age of Leo, the Egyptians didn't, I promise you that. Or the age of Scorpio. They didn't call it that. They had different names for those parts of the sky. And this has been something that we have noticed as astronomers and astrologers ever since we've been watching the sky. And I'm going to show you that. So it's the solstices, y'all. It's not the equinoxes. The Mayans, I think this is the only slide I have on the Mayans. And when we get to December, when we get to our winter solstice, I will take you through this too. But I did show you both sides of the sky. Now imagine this is pre-dawn, okay? This is the chief elder and smart guys, mathematicians, astronomers, astrologers, medicine men. They took care of the tribe spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally, and they watched the sky for guidance. And so imagine on the summer solstice, right before dawn, you're going to see, at least 3,000, 5,000 years ago, you're going to see the heart of the Milky Way galaxy. You're going to see Scorpio. You're going to see Ophiuchus. You're going to see Sagittarius. So these skywatchers sat there because they would stay up at night. They would be up at night watching the sky. And right before, when they would see the sun's first light, over time, they told their apprentices and their children, watch the Great Rift, because when the sun stands still, the Great Rift comes closer and closer. And so what they were afraid of was that when the sun stood still during the winter solstice, because it was also waning in light, it was going lower and lower in the sky, that when that alignment happened, that it would swallow the sun, that it would swallow the earth. or maybe they didn't. Maybe they just knew that it was a change of the age, because that's the ancient wisdom, that as that sky moves, empires rise and fall, and so did their empire. And their calendar ended right around now. 2012, that's pretty good. Some people say it's a little bit later. It doesn't really matter. It's right around now, give or take a few hundred years, and we're in it. We're here. So they followed the sky and not the calendar. So this is what it looks like now. This is how much precession has occurred since the creation of the modern Western zodiac. You can see the birthday right here, because this is how much it shifted. This is spring right here. Well, actually, the inner wheel is our tropical, and the outer wheel is true sky. So springtime starts right here. This would be March 21st for them. And see where the sun is? It's in Pisces. That's the real sky on the outside here. So just do yourself a little imagining again. Imagine you're in here and you've got you are a skywatcher. You come from the cosmos. You're made of stardust. You are energetically and wavelength wise connected to these energies out there. You're standing here, and for whatever reason, you've got your Gregorian calendar wrapped around you. So all you know is that it's January and you might be a Leo, and then you've got this wrapped around you. And you're told to watch a TV for your stars, for your inspiration, for your musing. You don't even know what's going on up here. And that's the state of our collective at the moment. And the shift is happening, whether we like it or not. And I would say, let's do this consciously. Let's look up at the sky and let's really vibe into this. And whatever that means for us on a personal level to get to that place, let's do it. Where's the will? Where's the drive to actually reconnect with this energy? We're doing it when we talk about the astrological ages, which are, again, completely arbitrary because it's based on the equinox. So the other points we're going to go through is this part of the sky, which is the outer bands of the Milky Way. This is where our June solstice is, so 6:20. And then right here is the Milky Way center. And that is where our December solstice lives. Okay, and then of course we have fall over here. And nobody knows what's going on in the fall anymore. Everybody thinks it's Libra and Scorpio and then Sagittarius season, when we haven't even really started the real trial of the sun. So that's the sky. And that's the sky in comparison to the tropical Western zodiac. I am not knocking anybody that practices tropical. I am not giving it a judgment. I'm just saying it's not based on the sky. That's the only point that I'm trying to make. And that makes a difference. If you're trying to speak about certain things, understand that the tropical system is based on the seasons, and good tropical astrologers will actually tell you that. So again, I'm not disparaging tropical astrologers. I love you guys. Thank you for being wisdom keepers for the past 2,000 years. I'm just asking you to look up and shift your skies just a little bit. And I think it will make tremendous changes in the currents of our collective. So this is basically my point here, right? So we stopped flowing with the stars. We locked the sky into a seasonal karmic loop, keeping us from actually evolving. This is the famous Plato's Cave, and this drawing is from After School, SKOOL. And they'll do a narrative, and the creator will draw these pictures as it goes. But I really like this work. So shout out to them. And it's an adaptation to Plato's Cave. Okay, so this is sort of like everyone else, like maybe 60-70% of the world right here, where it's like you and I are like, we see it, we see the truth, we know, and we're going towards it. And I don't know who this character is, if it's our shadow or their shadow, but at any rate, this seems to be the state of affairs when it comes to our connection with the cosmos. So solstices are the true turning point. They're easier to track than equinoxes. The sun stands still, and this is a visible event. And the realignment happens when the sun pauses. So this is slide 13, just so you know, which is awesome. So let's do a couple of case studies, shall we? Let's look at the Egyptians and the star Sirius. This is the summer solstice for us right now. So Sirius, or Sapdet, was the brightest star in the sky. It rose just before dawn near the summer solstice. In fact, the heliacal rising of Sirius was just before their summer solstice. Sorry, guys, I'm just getting to my notes here. Yes. Okay. So the Egyptians tracked this star with obsessive precision. This was literally their god. This was the goddess Isis. And every year, just before dawn, near the summer solstice, Sirius would rise on the eastern horizon. Remember that Mayan shaman looking at the eastern sky during the winter solstice just before dawn? That's what the Egyptians did. So just before the sun was rising, they saw that bright, bright star, the dog star, Sirius, Isis, rising before the sun. It often marked the flooding of the Nile River, which was the lifeblood of the agricultural society that inhabited the area around the Nile. It also marked the beginning of their new year. Okay? This was their new year. It wasn't freaking spring. This was it. It was their summer solstice because that's what they could see. Now, Sirius's return from the underworld after being invisible was the rebirth of the land. So, whilst the heliacal rising of Sirius in the morning, what they would see 6 months or a few months prior was the evening star Sirius. So the sun would set, and then they would see Sirius get closer and closer to the western horizon. Sirius would disappear, and then they would see Sirius rising in the morning. Okay. So to the Egyptians, the sky and the earth were not separate. Just so right now we are separate. If we're using tropical astrology, we are separate from the sky. But if we use constellational astrology, true sky, sidereal astrology, then we are once again connected back with the sky like they were. And again, timing, survival, spiritual mythology, all of this was tied to the star's heliacal rising. And as you saw, it takes centuries, which explains why a lot of these civilizations rise and fall over the period of time of centuries and even millennia. So let me show you. I have a little example here. I wanted to show you the solstice 3,000 years ago. Because we could go back on Stellarium, and I did that too. But this was the chart, okay? And this is from Prometheus Capricorn software. You can get that at masteringthezodiac.com. If you join Stellar Foundations, you get this with the class. Let me know if you're curious. I do have a couple of licenses that you can get at the Stellar Foundations rate if you guys want to. But at any rate, here's the software. Here's the output. This is a chart. I went back to 3000 BC. So this is minus 3000. This is 5,000 years ago on the summer solstice. Here's the sun in Cancer. Okay. Look at this. This is star Sirius. You can find that in Gemini at 16 degrees. Tropical astrologers will have Sirius at 15 degrees of their Cancer, but their Cancer is right here. Okay. So imagine pre-dawn, you're gazing out at the summer solstice and you see this bright blue star rising in the sky. So, and you know that at this heliacal rising, this begins the flooding of the Nile River. So perhaps for these people, this was the age of Gemini. No? I imagine that if they called this constellation Gemini, which I don't believe that they did, they really just focused on the star, which was in a different constellation, but kind of right below it. So if you take Orion's belt and you follow those three stars downward to the left, the brightest star in the sky will be literally within 3 fingers away. And that is star Sirius, and the constellation around it is Canis Major, which is the dog. And this is also called the dog star. So yeah, so they, the sun is pausing, it's standing still in the sky, and on the eastern horizon, just before the sunrise, there's the star Sirius, heralding in the next season. So let's go to year 0. We saw this when we watched Stellarium-web.org move through the sky. Do you see where the sun is? It's moved a little bit in those 3,000 years. It's gone from here to here in year 1. So these people, if they followed their ancient mathematicians and astronomers' records, would notice that Sirius seems a little bit, like closer to the horizon at dawn during the solstice period. And that may have heralded the downfall of this particular empire as they watched it happening. So we've seen that in the sky. So there it is. This is about year one. You can see that the sun is at the very end of Gemini, or very end of Gemini with Venus on this year. And then we've got our current sky. So see, the sun went from here to here to here in our analysis. It's still the solstice. It's the same time frame. It's the same 3 days that the sun stands still. And now we've got the heliacal rising of the Pleiades, of Aries, that energy. So we might not be in the age of Aquarius. We could actually be in the age of the Pleiades, if we wanted to say that, if we were watching the solstices like the true ancient astronomers were. There's that sky coming up on the 20th. So you can see that right between sun. So if the sun were right on the horizon here, you might be able to see the Pleiades just before the sun rises. So there you go, the age of Pleiades. All right, and this is 2,000 years in the future. So look how far away sun is from the original position of 3000 BC. This is 7,000 years. And it's the same day. It's the same 3 days that we've been talking about, the solstice. Okay. And there's star Sirius. So this 4,000 years BC, or I'm sorry, 2,000 years from now in the future, star Sirius is an evening star. It's the age of Aries, maybe the age of Pisces even. I don't know, when you're considering it through the lens of the summer solstice. If you go back to the equinox, that would probably will for sure be like the age of Aquarius. So let's see what that looks like. There it is. A little bit further along, precessed, just a few more degrees. The rate of this precession is 72 years. It moves 1 degree. All right, yeah. So let's talk about this part of the sky. Let's do a little bit of astrology, which is why this is such a interesting alignment. Remember, we haven't had this until recent times. We didn't have this when the Egyptians were walking around and when the Mayans were walking around. We literally have our solstice, our summer solstice, aligned to the Silver Gate. Now, the Silver Gate is just, again, another arbitrary name that a lot of esoteric traditions have labeled this part of the sky, but the energetic consequence and signature of it is still very much there. So call it the Silver Gate, call it the gateway of man, call it, whatever you want to call it. It's an energy current. The ecliptic of the galaxy is an energy current, and our solar system ecliptic passes through it at this base between Taurus and Gemini, and on the other side where Ophiuchus is, where the Milky Way center and the galactic center are. Ancient traditions, they haven't called it the Silver Gate for thousands of years, but they still paid homage to the stars that occupied these spaces from Babylon to Egypt to Hermetic cosmologies. And it is between the horns of Taurus, the feet of Gemini, and literally the sword tip of Orion is where the sun is on this day. So celestial alignments typically equal a cultural vitality. Disconnection from the sky equals a decline, and realignment is necessary for evolution. So we have a very important axis lining up with our solstices. It's going to keep getting tighter and tighter as we go through the decades and the centuries. And we're in it. We're on it. It's coming. But it's not because of some arbitrarily named age. It is literally because of our solstice alignment with the galactic plane. So here are some resources if you want to check out energy around Egypt, how they built their temples, some theories that are out there. I don't agree with all of them, but they're good resources if you want to check out some of these books. I'm not done. We got more. I just wanted to show you those. So let's look at the Mayans in the galactic center. So they would track vast cycles of time, 5,125-year bakduns, and they were built on precise solar and galactic alignments. Now, the culmination of this, according to their calendars, was December 21st of 2012, the winter solstice. Now, depending on how long our year actually was, our calendars did go through some tremendous changes around 700 BC. And so if you had 360-degree or 360-day years and you were projecting into the future, and then all of a sudden the years became 365 days, then that date of the end of the calendar can be a little bit shifty, and archaics.com has data on that. So, but it doesn't matter whether it's, this decade or that decade, we're in it. We're in a larger evolutionary swell. So the Milky Way's ecliptic bulge is called the galactic center. The sun crosses this point during the winter solstice, and this alignment also happens every 25,800 years. So the Maya saw the Milky Way as the sacred world tree, the galactic plane, the axis mundi, the portal of creation. And this 2012 alignment, it could be the rebirth of a cosmic order. I feel like we are. I think it's one of the most exciting times to be alive, right? We're on the cusp of the ages, and we have access to wisdom and knowledge like never before, technology like never before, or maybe that we at least remember. So the Maya track the solstice through the space, and the solstices are the true long-range cosmic reset points. Galactic cycles shape human destiny. And there's even some proof out there. I forgot who it was. I saw it sort of randomly on another podcast, showing these larger cycles of evolution through DNA analysis, and they go back millions of years. All right, so this is 3,000 years ago during our winter solstice, okay? Just like we did the summer solstice, this is the December solstice. So December 20th, 3000 BC. Look at where the sun is, you guys. Look at this. This is nowhere near where it is now. So it's in Capricorn. So the Mayans might have been, as you can see, seeing this galactic center as the sun was rising in the morning, because the sun's just below the horizon here. So that picture we saw of that Mayan looking up and seeing that galactic bulge, this is what that chart would have looked like. And as we move through time, you will see that this gets closer and closer to this solstice point. Again, the same ideas. Hopefully you guys are getting it now, because this is 3,000 years later. This is at the turn of our millennia. This is year 1 of our current era. And here's Sun in Sagittarius. See, it's closer now. If you go back one slide, you see it's there. Now it's there. So it's drifted in those 3,000 years. It's so imperceptible, but it is there, and it does matter. So there is the sky during that year. And then if we go to today, to right now, this will be this year's solstice. Here's the sun just below the right. Look at that. That's where the galactic bulge is. We're in it. We are in that alignment that the Mayans had planned for thousands. They knew about this alignment for 5,000 years. They were watching it happen. They had the precise mathematics to be able to do it. They weren't watching the equinoxes. Yes, they marked it as part of their calendar. I'm not saying it wasn't important, but in terms of where the calendar came from, how it was created, it was here. It was right here with these solstices. And why wouldn't it be? It's the galactic center. It was Xibalba. It was the dark road. It was like literally where the gnosis came in for them. And so here's the sky in 2025, the winter solstice coming up. And let's go 2,000 years into the future, where we will have passed this threshold of the galactic center. And now the equinox occurs in Scorpio, right? Instead of over here, it'll be over here. So you've seen the drift. You've seen the drift on the equinoxes. You've seen the drift on the summer solstice, and now you've seen it on the winter solstice. So hopefully I've made my point. Here are some more resources that you can do to get into the Mayan energy. Again, I don't agree with all the theories in here, but if you want to just kind of open your mind and dive into some of this stuff, it's super fascinating and interesting. What an amazing culture. We're actually going to Mexico at the end of July coming up, so I'm excited to to be in that energy. All right, so the call to action for you guys is ask yourself, like, do you feel the disconnect, like what we are told versus what we feel? More and more people are feeling that. More and more people are waking up because there is a cosmic pressure on the trance that everyone has been in. It's like you can't hold that trance. It takes more and more and more and more energy to literally be programmed, to literally be lied to, and to believe it. It's taking more and more energy to do that, and I hope you all feel that because that's literally what's so exciting about this time frame. So it's what we're told versus what we feel, the programming versus what we know. The sky is shifting, and we should too. So the map was never lost. It was just misread. The sky remembers, and it is time to align. All right. You guys ready for some cool code? This is so awesome. Oh my gosh, this is my favorite part. This came together so easily, like it was spirit led. I just couldn't even, I couldn't even believe it. So, all right, here we go. This is, even though there's like 50 slides in this, it's kind of short. There's just a few points I want to make. It just helps support everything that I've been saying to you. So let me just explain the cipher that I'm using for those of you that haven't seen the numerology side of my work. This cipher comes from decoded.co. I'll show you the you can go there and get hundreds of ciphers. Logan of Decode Your Reality has sponsored that for free for everyone to use. I love this one for astrology. It is the Phi cipher. So it comes from the irrational number that is created from the golden ratio or the golden mean, which is 1.6180339887498, etc. So 1.618033 equals A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And that's what I'm using. Now, there is a second Phi cipher out there on Dakota that I saw and I've been wanting to use. And this one just felt really good because when I started looking at some of the alchemology just with the Phi cipher, I said, let me look at this alchemology, Phi alchemology cipher. And it's very simple. I'm going to explain to you where it comes from so you don't think it's magic or something spooky. The first, so if you take the original Phi alpha numeric cipher, so where the first digit 1 is equal to A, 1 is also A in the alchemology cipher because you'd have to take this number and go to the very first atomic element. The atomic mass is 1. Okay, if you keep going, I'll show you the pattern. B is 6. It is number 6 in the atomic list, and its weight is 12. So you see these are given more of an or a chemical weight rather than the number of the golden mean. You're adding the chemical weight of the element that's being indicated by these digits. So we'll do one more. So you can see that D is 8, which is the 8th element, which is 16 for its atomic mass. So, and that's how the pattern unfolds. So obviously ones would always be ones, zeros would be zeros. This, I believe, is lithium. And that's how that cipher came about. Just for your knowing, why is she using two different ciphers? They work really nicely together, especially in this particular decode. So the word solstice, the sun stands still. That's where I go whenever I do a decode. What is my topic? Well, let me just see if there's anything there. And I got the number 40. The 40th element in our periodic table of elements, which you can reference at the Royal Chemistry Society, is zirconium. And zirconium is that fake diamond. So I think when you cubic zirconium, when you have the ring that looks like a diamond, but it's not actually a diamond. And wouldn't you know it? Like literally just popped right out is this scarab beetle. For those of you that know Egyptian culture, you know that the scarab beetle was very, very important to them. This was an animal that was worshipped because it could create without copulating. It could have babies without getting it on. And it just so happens that the word Egyptians is also 40 in the Phi cipher. So here we've got the chemicals showing me the scarab beetle. I've already talked about the Egyptian culture and their association to Star Sirius, and there's this connection, there's this alignment. And you guys, whatever ciphers you use will show you the connections that you are looking for. These are just keys, and they unlock the code underneath in different ways. So let's look at the alchemology. Let's go ahead and add this new cipher in and see if we can find out anything else that's super, super interesting. And look at that. So solstice is 81 in the Phi alchemology cipher. Remember how we got those numbers? We got it by taking the atomic number and then the atomic mass and just transiting that way. It's just another way to kind of click the key around, okay? And Egyptians is also 81 in the Phi alchemology cipher. Isn't that crazy? That's just amazing to me. Like I'm like, wow. And the numbers are all different. So it's not like, they're using the same string of original numbers to create these masses. They just happen to be coincident. And so for me, for both of those to kind of work out like that, it's a little bit more of a coincidence. It's more of a synchronicity. And this is where synchronicities come from, you guys. I promise. After you watch one of these decodes, you'll see these numbers pop up in your field for the next little while. All right, so we have zirconium, atomic number 40. Solstice and Egyptians is 40 in the golden Phi cipher. And solstice and Egyptians is 81 if we add the alchemology. That hopefully should all make sense to you. Subidium.com will let you find a string of digits in Phi and pi, and also the natural log and the square root of 2. So if you take the irrational string of digits of the golden mean, remember that 1.618 all the way, the 33rd string, or the 33rd and 34th digits, are 81. And y'all know how much I love 33 in my decodes for a lot of reasons. But 33 is pretty special because scarab beetle, if you spell it, is 33. I mean, yeah, isn't that fun? So you can imagine me just sort of, trying to see where the connections are going, letting the code show me, and this comes up like this. So I was like, yay. Mayans are 33, and 13 is 33. And the Mayans love that 13th back tune. They knew the number 13. And because they were looking at the galactic center and they saw the constellation of Ophiuchus. So there's one proof. Let's see what else we got. Oh, right. So precession of the solstices. This is the new concept I wanted to introduce to your lexicon. Is let's align with the cosmos, because our Earth is tilted along the galactic plane. We live in the Milky Way galaxy. It's our neighborhood of stars, and our wobble right now is perfectly aligned with that. So what if we talked about precession of the solstices instead? It might free us up from a certain confining dogma. And it is 121 in the Phi cipher. And the atomic mass of antimony is 121. Are you seeing this? You guys see this? It looks like the Eye of Horus to me, which is a uniquely Egyptian icon. So right there. I don't even know what else to say about it. It's also associated with the pineal gland. This is an actual cross-section of a human brain, the corpus callosum, the thalamus, the limbic system, and the pineal gland and pituitary gland. So yeah, that looks an awful lot like the Eye of Horus. And just some cool little coincidences, synchronicities that I found with this. The third eye is also 40, which Egyptians is 40. in the alchemology cipher, because we've already brought in the antimony, all around precession of the solstices. And pineal is 51, which is antimony's number in alchemology. So both of these things are, associate, all connected. If you have the eyes to see it, it's just beautiful when it comes together like this. And I think it's an excellent use of how you can bring in a different cipher into the work you're doing. So let's see. Oh, the sun stands still. Remember 88 Ra that I showed you at the very beginning. You can't make this stuff up. I mean, this is just there. It's there for us to see if we're looking for it. Oh, and then of course, we can't leave this out. Star Sirius, our dog star, is 51 in the Phi cipher. So now we have the dog star energy, Star Sirius. The precession of these solstices is 91. Is 72 years, and you put that in together, you get 91. Which, remember, I didn't mention this, but 91 is the atomic mass of zirconium, which is 40, which is the Egyptians, right? So Egyptians is 40. 72-year precession is 91, and you have that. So the connections are stunning to me. I think that this might be the way to perceive our astrological and cosmological ages, maybe through the lens of the solstices rather than the equinoxes, kind of break that habit of the equinox. Let's expand this a little bit more. There's some really great energy in here with dog star, right? So we have a 72-year, 1 degree. So every 72 years, the sun on the solstice or on the equinox, whatever you prefer, precesses 1 degree. If you spell dog star in the alchemology cipher, you get the number 72. So that's really interesting to me as well, just supporting our thesis that the Egyptians were watching the precession of their solstice. And it brings me to this beautiful star that just keeps coming up in planetary cycles and celestial mechanics and cosmology. And it is the perfect pentagram, the perfect star. And when you draw it out like this, you get some very specific and interesting angles. And these numbers you see everywhere in pyramidal architecture, in Mayan architecture and calendars, is the numbers 108 and 72. So I'm in this star right now because it's a star. We're talking about the dog star. We're talking about Star Sirius. We're talking about its precession with respect to the solstices. And we see that the lengths of this pentagram that we're drawing exhibit the phi ratio in a spiraling, expanding, and reducing pattern. So in other words, red's length, if you want to call that A, and green's length is B, and you take the numerical ratio between them, between their lengths, let's say in centimeters, you're going to get 1.618, which is this. So you have 72, 108, and then there's a third angle up here, and this diagram doesn't have it, but I'm going to give it to you. It's 36 degrees. Okay, so we have 36, 72, 108. These are sacred numbers. These are sacred geometry numbers. You're going to see numbers like this and ratios to that a lot if you're doing sacred geometry. Okay, so we're connecting it all back to the cipher. We're seeing the underlying coding. We're seeing the geometry. Where does this actually come from? Why do these words have these numbers? It's because of this. You just take the word Sirius. It's 36. So it's just an affirmation, a synchronicity, pointing us back to, yes, this is the code. Gemini is 36. Sirius is in Gemini. At least on our astrological charts, it's actually in Canis Major. So the age of Gemini is 108. So I think our Egyptians were living in the age of Gemini, and I have more proof for that. I don't think they were living in what the modern spiritualists call the age of Leo or the age of whatever. If we're gonna just start naming things, let's name it the age of Gemini, because Sirius, that's when they thrived, in the solstice age of Gemini. It just all connects so nicely. So here are our numbers: 8 Gemini, Dog Star, Sirius. Gemini is the constellation of the twins, right? We've got Castor, we've got Pollux, we've got we also have the Egyptian culture, seeing the star Sirius right there with Gemini rising and the Dog Star rising, because their solstice point, when the sun stood still, happened when the stars were aligned like this. So we've got the twin energy, right? So the duality energy, binary energy. Binary is 33. Also, if you read some of those books about ancient Egypt, they will also postulate and theorize that star Sirius is our binary star. It actually is a binary and or trinary system. So binary. Anyway, it's 33. It comes back to all of this. 33 is one of those numbers that I just, when it lands on that, it's definitely a yes. Twins is 31. Here's where it gets really interesting, you guys. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we have Gemini, we have the twins, we've got 31 as the number in the Phi cipher. Anubis is 31. Okay, follow me here. So Anubis, this okay, this statue right here, the Sphinx, this is not its original head. There's a lot of theories out there that it was either fallen off or destroyed and like recreated to match the emperor of the time. But this is not its actual head. This was more like what the creature may have looked like. Okay, this was the dog star Sirius, Anubis, the underworld, okay? And there's supposed to be 2 of these. Just put that in your brain, let that marinate, let that roll around in there a little bit. There's supposed to be 2 of these statues because of twins. So where's the other one? I don't know. That's where I kind of ended it in terms of the rabbit hole I was going down there. But if you look at the number 31, the 31st prime is 127. Okay, what is 127? Who cares? 127 is the atomic weight of tellurium, which is 52. That's the atomic number. And where did I get 52 from? I'm not really sure where I put 52. I had a 52 connection somewhere, but at any rate, that's kind of where it fell apart for me. So just think about that this head on this Sphinx was probably a dog's head, because Anubis was the character that was part of the, their mythology. You've got star Sirius next to Gemini, the twins. And here we have, the dog star. Here's the dog. I don't know. It just seems like it's, an interesting connection. Where did I put that 52? Because I was so excited about that. I might have just stopped. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, you could see coding in real time, how it's not always like aha moments, that you just sometimes you run into the point and then, spirit says, okay, you've made it. That's it. So Stellarium is associated with Earth, with the, I may have it in later, with the 52 cards of the playing cards. So I may have used that as just sort of a hint to go ahead and move into the deck of cards. So let's look at the date itself. This is the chart for the summer solstice that's coming upon us. And the date itself is 6/20/2025. And any cipher you put the date into, you're going to get the same number, because numbers are numbers. And I got the number 71. Let me show you this. 71 is interesting because the Silver Gate, which is this area of the sky that we're talking about, we have the Silver Gate here between Gemini and Taurus, and the Golden Gate over here is also 71, using alchemology. The 71st card in our tarot deck is the 7 of Pentacles. There's your Pentacles. Okay, there's your star. There's your 72, 108, 36 star popping out at you again, letting you know that the ages are changing. right? It's time to change what you're doing. This guy looks a little bit discontent with the work. He's just kind of like, okay, I could do better. So maybe this represents that shifting of ages. And then what I really love is that it's a complement card in the cards of illumination is the 7 of diamonds, which is 33, which is the Mayans. Yeah, so just another nice connection there with the date of the actual solstice. So this isn't more than just, this is like amusement, but a nice connection and a nice synchronicity to show you that, yes, even the date is aligning to this narrative that we're building. The card for June 20th is the 10 of clubs. There it is. It's card number 23. Logan does a really nice breakdown of 23 and the 10 of clubs, associating it with blood and the castle chess pieces. But what I want to show you is that its complement card in the tarot deck, because we're going back to tarot, is now the 10 of wands. And the number for that card is 32. So here we have a nice mirror energy here with the actual date of the card, 23 and 32. Isis is 32, by the way, in the Phi cipher. But if you add these two together, you get the number 55. And zirconium is 55. Oh my God, get out of here. Right? So there you go. There you have it. Just playing with some numbers, adding them together brings you right back to the Egyptian scarab beetle. So there we have it. That's a duplicate slide. So the takeaways, I think I ended it there. That's it. Yep. So the cosmos, here's our takeaways, guys. Here's what I want you to walk away from this presentation with. The cosmos has always shifted and it always will. It's never just a snapshot in time and we hang on to that and we use it forever, right? Aries, March 21st, 0 degrees. That's when the sky starts. That's our zodiac. No, the sky has always shifted and we should too. And when we connect with the sky, we connect with the cosmic evolution that's always happening. It makes these revolutions that we have to go through a lot less painful because we're already in it. You understand what I mean? If you guys are aligned to the way it is now, any evolutions, revolutions, devolutions that occur out there in your field, in the field, are not going to affect you because they're trying to go through their own shadow work to get where you're already at. So we're watching it in real time, civilizations falling and rising with the precession of these energies, solstices or equinoxes, whichever way you want to go. And the Egyptian civilization, which was, our focus for this discussion around the summer solstice, rose and fell with the precession of the star Sirius. If we reconnect with the cosmos, we can read the code. So guys, those are my sources. Decode.co, cosmicsugar.org. You can get the card information. Number Empire will tell you everything you want to know about a number. Sabidian.com will find your number in those string of digits. The Royal Society of Chemistry and ChemSpeller are really nice resources for alchemology. Of course, my software is Capricorn Prometheus, and every presentation is guided by an inspiration that I can't quite explain where it comes from. So we literally just call it source. And my code is to connect things that people are not connecting, process it and translate it in a way so that others can understand it and integrate it. And so it is my honor to do that. And I'm so excited and happy to be here with you all. And we are done. So how'd you feel about all that? Did you guys like it? I sure enjoyed it. That was actually one of my favorite ones I've done in a while. Because just lining up with the galactic center is just, that's where it's at. That's where I feel most of the hum, when I work with these celestial energies. It's the galactic center and the corresponding silver gate. Seema says, fire stream, Danny. Thank you so much. Thank you. Awesome. Seema loves their star sign more than ever now. That's Me too. I didn't think I would love Cancer suns, but I do. It explains so much about like why I'm super gullible, why I just love people the second I see them, even if they're not like love worthy by most standards, even to my own detriment. Thanks for the bam, Christine. And I appreciate that. The 81s are hilarious. Yeah, that was just too perfect. I was like, "Oh, I need to keep going. I need to see where this takes me." Yeah, I haven't actually done decoding in a like since before my trip, before we went to the desert. It takes a certain amount of, I want to say, it's not focus. I got plenty of focus, but it's almost as if I've got to be nudged a little to like really sit with it and really investigate, because what you see is the final product of many, many investigations. And sometimes you'll poke at it and nothing happens. You don't go anywhere. And those are the decodes you don't see. And that's okay. It just means that there wasn't really a message there or a point there for that moment in time. But when it does come through, to me, it's like, okay, this is a spirit-led presentation. This is a spirit-led decode. Let me run with this and see how far it takes me. So that was cool. All right. Look up has the eye to see it. Nature's place. Say, tell us how you feel. Silver fox. Yep. Some of us are turning 50. I'll be 51 this summer. I did my number 50 last summer. It was cool. I actually like being in my 50s. I feel like every decade's gotten better. And it might just be because, you really just don't care that much anymore what people think or say about you, because they really probably haven't been judging you your whole life. And sometimes it just takes you to turn 50 to figure that out. So good, you guys. Well, it's dinner time and I did work last night. So I'm going to go out to dinner. We're going to get some Mexican food and then I'm going to sleep. And then, like I said, let's see, this week, we'll do the Zoom call with those of you that are members and also Stellar Foundation students. If you guys want to come, I'll give you the link to that too. And we'll dissect this new moon. And then I will also do a new moon presentation, but I probably won't do it live. It'll probably be like it has been, where I just sort of give you if your sun sign is this, or your soul star sign is this is what kind of month you're going to have. So for example, I'm going to have a 12th house solar lunation. And then next month will be my birthday. So it'll be first house solar lunation. So if you guys are having a birthday this month, you're having a first house solar lunation. So when that video comes out, you can go right to your sun sign and I'll give you your new moon and your full moon. So I'll record that at some point and post that right before probably the new moon. But with all the shifts I have to do, it's or I get to do, I should say, because it is an honor and a privilege still to be a physician. With that many shifts going on, I don't know. I really don't want to be on camera. So, I'll probably just sit in my office where it's quiet at a time where I feel energized and go ahead and do it. Or, another thing too, is we don't necessarily have to plan these lives. Like if I'm feeling good and I just want to pop on and you guys see me, then, come on in. All right. Let's see if you guys got any more comments. Oh, transform wisdom. You and me are going to be friends. I love it when y'all see stuff that I didn't see. You see what it said here? Scarab beetle is 2112. And that is fair enough, the date of the Mayan winter solstice. So that's awesome. Jean asked me if I visit Logan in Mexico. I don't know. I don't think so. I think we're going to be in the near vicinity, but where I'm going is one of those like all-inclusive kind of resort places. And I don't know, if he's 2 miles away. I guess that could be something we could set up, but I haven't even talked to him about it, so I don't know. I won't hold my breath for that, but if it all works out and it magically happens, then I'm definitely down for that. So, all right, good. All right, you guys. Well, that is that. So I will see you guys through the recording. I'll be thinking about you, and if you guys want to join the channel, become a member. It's only $4.99. The link's in the description. You can join our Zoom call next week, and it'll be like the private teaching, so it'll be awesome. Oh, see what you're a Gemini. Good, awesome. Okay, so this is a first house solely lunation for you. The full moon is going to be in Sagittarius. This is a truth and wisdom axis. This is a learning and teaching axis. Christine Yan will be 77. Congratulations, lucky number. Awesome. Okay, guys, I'm going to leave you with a very happy, upbeat outro. It's just a bunch of memes to keep your spirits up and let you know that you're a powerful, amazing magician. Oh, I almost forgot to tell you one more thing. I can't help myself. Monday morning, we're going live with the Modern Magicians, Verone and Jeffrey. We had to reschedule from last week. And so that will be the next live stream. And then after that, it'll either be a surprise live stream or I'll just give you guys a video. So, all right, my guy. Thank you so much. Love y'all so much. I hope you guys have a great day and we will see you later.